welcome in or welcome back to Rainforest Oracle. It is so great to have you here, whether you are returning or new. Hello, my name is Amanda, and I will be doing your tarot reading today. I do these tarot readings weekly, so please consider subscribing and clicking on that notification bell so you never miss a reading that I upload. However, if you are more interested in a private tarot reading, I do offer those on my website. Details for that are available in the description box below. In today's reading, we are going to be looking at the winter solstice, what to leave behind, what to embrace, maybe some guidance for this season ahead. And these readings are general, so if it resonates, fantastic. However, if it doesn't, please leave these messages for someone else. So I will introduce you to the three piles we have today. For pile number 1, we have Mookite Jasper. For pile number 2, we have Amber. And for pile number 3, we have Lapis Lazuli. So we will reveal the words on each of the cards once we hop into your reading. So if you need more time to choose your pile, please pause the video now, then head down into the description box below to find the timestamp for your reading, and we will see you over there. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your reading. So you chose the Mookite Jasper stone with the conditioning card. And this is the devil in the traditional tarot. So this speaks to individuality and releasing your wild spirit. So let's see what the tarot has to say about that card. This could be an energy that you are embracing right now. Maybe you are a nonconformist, or you could be exploring that right now. Unleashing your free spirit and or releasing the conditioning that possibly has been placed upon you. Thinking, feeling, acting differently than possibly an older self. So while I'm shuffling, feel free to grab a journal to take notes for this reading so you can reflect on the messages offered and devise an action plan on how you might integrate these messages into your life. I find that I get most out of these readings when I do them for myself, when I not only consider the messages, but take notes and kind of make a plan or a strategy of how I can apply these to my life and the choices that I make. Okay, so we are going to be pulling 3 cards on what to leave behind, what to embrace, and possibly any guidance that the universe has for you. So before we get into it, I'm going to do just a quick ask of Spirit to help us out in this reading today. Spirit, please offer a card on what pile 1 needs to leave behind, possibly regarding conditioning, the devil energy. Did I see one fall out of there? I did. There it is. Oh, interesting. You have a lion here too. So it could be a Leo energy in here. Spirit, what does pile 1 need to embrace? And any guidance for the winter solstice for pile 1. And while I am at it, I'm going to go ahead and get clarifiers right out of the gate. So clarify the strength card for us, Spirit, for pile 1. What do they need to leave behind? Clarify the strength card. Thank you. And please, Spirit, clarify the Empress. That was way too many. So we're going to do that again. Spirit, what does pile 1 need to embrace regarding the Empress in reverse? Please clarify. Thank you. And finally, the outcome or guidance for pile 1 regarding what they need to leave behind, embrace, or general guidance you have for the winter solstice. 9 of Swords in reverse. Please clarify this for pile 1. Okay, I was not ready for that one. Try it again. Please clarify the Nine of Swords in reverse, Spirit. For guidance, outcome for pile 1. Thank you. Okay. So I feel what you need to leave behind is this idea that you aren't strong enough to stand up to strong personalities or in situations that feel tense or conflicted. You need to also stop participating in fights that have no end, in fights where you can't really, where everybody's in it to win and they aren't really coming to the table with answers. There is more arguments than there are solutions. And this might have you in an energy of feeling like you don't have the confidence, but I almost question if you shouldn't be participating at all. Is this the environment or situation that your confidence can be built? I feel like it's doing the opposite, where it's tearing you down, it's making you feel small, it's hurting you to some degree, and you're trying to find your strength and your confidence within that. But it's going to be difficult because you're in a situation where you can't win. You're in a situation that feels very contentious and quite challenging. And so I wonder if that's the nonconformity that's coming out, is to not participate in this energy to some degree so that you can build that strength, you can build that self-esteem and that confidence, maybe even to some degree find some healing outside of this energy. Because I feel like these energies are not necessarily lesser than, but they're a lower vibrational energy that isn't matching yours to a degree. I feel like you're a person that might be someone who takes the high ground, who is very solution oriented, and who doesn't do well in conflicted or tense situations. And not that you can't stand up for yourself in those situations, but I feel like this situation is one where you can't really win, or it's not a place where people are hearing what you have to say, are valuing what you have to say. They're simply in it to stroke their ego or to win to some degree, which is only making things worse for you from how you see yourself. Because you're going into this thinking that you can maybe change their minds or find a solution or help or be of some kind of assistance, but you're just almost draining your energy in this. And you're not finding any solutions. It's continually, it's like banging your head against a wall to some degree. And I don't feel this is going to end. This is just the dynamic of the group, the dynamic of the situation or the people that you're dealing with right now. And with this conditioning, it makes me feel like you are taking on some kind of, not necessarily an identity to as a whole, but you're almost putting up a front so that you can either protect yourself in this situation or to prevent yourself from being hurt or to be respected and be valued in this particular situation. But it's almost like they can't see you, they can't hear you because they are on a bit of a lower vibration or just a different vibration than you. So there's nothing that you can say to really change the direction of this group or this situation, because it just kind of is what it is. So I feel like you've possibly approached this particular situation with a lot of logic and maybe a little too much heart. So I feel like what you need to embrace is your own intuition and inner guidance, that gut instinct that kind of already knows what you're feeling about it, and to start moving from that gut instinct rather than logic and intuition, or pardon me, from your emotions. Because I feel that you've moved from an emotional space and a logical space, but it's only halted things. It hasn't seen progress, or it hasn't offered you any sense of progress. So you almost have to embrace your inner guide and that intuition that I feel is quite strong, because the situation might have even shut that intuition down, or you've shut it out to some degree. You've resisted it or haven't trusted it. And so now it's time to start trusting it again and listen to yourself, or listen to that inner guide, rather than listening to what's happening in the situation, what almost your emotions are telling you to do. And I'm not sure that your emotions and your intuition is really aligned at this time, because in this heated space, we are working from a point of survival and a point of trying to get people to see things from our point of view, or possibly find solution in a problematic state. So we aren't necessarily thinking clearly or even hearing our intuition, because we're in that logical brain and we're in that emotional brain. We don't want to rock the boat even further by doing things that might be unconventional, or doing something that doesn't make sense to people. And it might not make sense to you, to what your intuition is telling you, but I feel like you need to embrace that intuition more, because I do feel that you are a very heart-centered person. You're a very feeling person, and this situation or something that you might be facing in the coming months might be really affecting you on an emotional level. So it's not allowing you to move forward, to move beyond it, to see beyond it. And if this Nine of Swords is any indication, that your guidance here, or the outcome, is that you will eventually be releasing the anxiety, stress, and worry that has kept you up at night from this. And I feel like there's a lot of external factors that are affecting you with this Nine of Swords. And so the guidance is to find some way to quiet the noise to a certain degree, and to start off on a new adventure, to explore something new, maybe even unconventional, that doesn't conform to what is expected. The Page of Pentacles is very adventurous and isn't afraid to move beyond the zone of comfort. So getting into those discomfort zones, shaking things up a bit, seeing what they can do with what they've got, and really getting exploratory, experimenting, doing some trial and error, and gaining that real life experience, rather than sitting in a place and kind of getting secondhand knowledge from people that might not necessarily align with how you think or how you feel. So there's almost an even amount of everything here in terms of elements. So we've got 2 swords, and we have, well, 1 cup, 1 pentacle, and 2 major arcana. So I feel this has a lot to do with communication and mindset, but it may also require you to some degree to apply this to make changes within yourself in order to change the outcome. And before I forget, bottom of the deck, we have 7 of Swords, so some more sword energy there. I'm actually going to put this over here. So the 7 of Swords, I feel in this instance, can speak to being unconventional and not being afraid to walk away, of not being worried about complying to certain set of rules, or not worrying about feeling like you're deceiving somebody. I feel like self is more important, that you're not deceiving self, and you're really tapping into your own individual thoughts, feelings, actions here. Because I feel like a lot of what you may be doing is rooted in what other people think you should be doing or feeling or behaving like. And this is an exercise in breaking those rules a little bit, breaking the expectations or not having any expectations of what the outcome is, breaking those chains almost, not being tied down to what people say you are. And that almost, I get that energy here where somebody, you're either in a group or have some kind of conversation with somebody or argument with somebody, and what they say and how they say it really affects how you feel about yourself, how you see yourself, almost your opinion of yourself. And it's the complete opposite of what you actually feel about yourself. So it's tapping back into how you feel, how what your intuitive inklings are. And then going out into the world with those values, with those ideas, with a focus on exploring and challenging those, I don't know if it's conditioning or rules. So let's get an oracle card for you. Message for pile 1, please. We're actually going to get one more oracle card from my oracle deck that I designed and created. It is available on my website for those who are interested. Link for these are in the description box below. Okay, I'm going to pull that one. And here we are. Give into passion. And we have grow through challenge and change with the earth energy. So, yeah, when we have a lot of air, which are thoughts and communication, we can really get bogged down with thinking too much, with trying to communicate how we think, and not really going kind of underground, deep into our emotional self, into our intuitive self. So I feel that's kind of what the oracle card here is suggesting, is to find our own ground, form our own opinions, have our own sense of self, and that own sense of self is rooted in who we are. And this is kind of that authentic self here, where you're not only being yourself, but you're being patient in the process. You're planting seeds and nurturing that self so you can really grow from that space. And challenges and changes are really almost a catalyst for tapping into that, especially if we're reacting to some degree within ourselves and not feeling so great about it, or feeling a little out of sync with it. And I apologize, I forgot to show you these cards up close here. So let me just do that now before I read your oracle card. So you have the Strength, the Empress, and the Nine of Swords, and those are all in reverse. And then for the clarifiers, you had the Five of Swords, the Knight of Cups in reverse, and the Page of Pentacles. So this Give Into Passion card is all about what you're passionate about and leaning into those a little more. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be simple things in life that you may have lost touch with, especially if you're coming back into rediscovering yourself to some degree and tapping back into that intuition. Those passions might be the key to help you here. So it's about doing something today that gives you a burst of energy and satisfaction. Even if it's just for half an hour, it doesn't have to be the entire day or a week-long thing, just little moments for ourselves. And this might be something that allows you to reconnect with that self, reconnect with who you are, those intuitions. Because I feel you might have lost it to some degree, or you've at least lost touch with it to some degree. So Working hard and playing too little is also another interpretation of this card as well. So it's about making time, especially if we're in an energy of tension all the time. We have to step away for a moment to make time for the things that we enjoy doing, those hobbies, those joyful little moments in the day. And that will also replenish your energy here as well. And I feel you'll really get a lot of benefit out of that. So pile 1, this was your reading. I hope it resonated in some way. You're welcome to comment below to let me know, or like this video to say thank you. With gratitude, I'm sending you my love, and we'll see you in your next reading. Hello, pile 2. Welcome to your reading. So you chose the Amber Stone with the Experiencing card. And this is the 3 of Wands in the traditional tarot. And it speaks to communing, whether that is with people, with nature, with yourself, having those experiences where you are in the moment, you are creating a memory, and just communing, going with the flow, and being present within that experience. So that could be the foundation of your reading today, or it could just be something that you're trying to embrace more of, being in the present, having more moments or experiences with people. So while I'm shuffling, feel free to grab your journal to take notes, to reflect on the messages offered, or devise a plan or a strategy to maybe integrate these into your life in some way. I find that I get the most out of my own tarot readings when I not only consider the messages and hear the messages, but how they could inspire my life and my choices through inspired action. Okay, so we'll just do a quick little shuffle here of the cards, and then we will get into pulling for the winter solstice spread. And this will be something that you might be experiencing this season during the winter, or something that you're currently moving through. Okay, so Spirit, what does pile 2 need to leave behind? What does pile 2 need to leave behind, Spirit? Thank you. You've got the Hierophant. Spirit, what does pile 2 need to embrace? What do they need to embrace? Thank you. You have the 2 of Swords in reverse. And third card for pile 1, or here we go. Third card for pile 2. What is the outcome or guidance you have for them today? Outcome or guidance for pile 2, please, for the winter solstice. You have the Star. Make a wish. And I'm going to grab clarifiers now. Please, Spirit, clarify the Hierophant for pile 1. What is it they need to leave behind? Thank you. You have the 4 of Swords in reverse. Okay, clarify the 2 of Swords first in reverse. What do they need to embrace? Thank you. You have Judgment. And final card. Clarify the Star for us, please. Thank you. The Queen of Swords in reverse. Bottom of the deck, we have the Page of Swords. We'll just move everything over a little bit so every card has its space. I feel like you're leaving behind mental overload or some kind of stress. And you're on a quest to learn something, have a new mindset, a new way of moving forward. But right now, or coming into the winter solstice, I feel like, or coming into the winter months, you could be facing some kind of indecision here. Or I feel that's why you might be clarifying something or on a quest to understand something a little bit better. Because you are possibly in a state of indecision about a particular something, and intuitively you're feeling the draw or the pull towards something different, something new. It's like you're shedding a layer of skin, like a snake. You've outgrown something to some degree. So you want to leave behind something, I don't want to say old, but something that you've learned that no longer applies. And possibly it's created some kind of stress or mental overload. So you want to leave that behind. You want to let it go. I almost feel like are you retiring? Are you a teacher? And maybe you're wanting to teach something new? Either that, or you're wanting to let go of some kind of stress that I feel is in your day-to-day life, and you want to experience something new, or you want to come into a place of enjoying life more. So in order to do that, I feel like you need to leave behind that stress, that mental overload. But it's going to require you to make some decisions and do something completely different, do something completely new. I feel like this isn't just about changing your hours or reducing your responsibilities at work or getting help to some degree or delegating something. This is a significant shift. So from working to not working, so working to retiring, that's a big shift. From college to taking a sabbatical for a year, that's a big shift, rather than going from college straight into working. And I feel like it's really weighed on your mind because you almost feel either unprepared or like you don't have the information you need to make a decision, but you feel that you're at some kind of crossroads and you just want to be for a while. You don't want to work. You don't want to progress towards a goal. You just almost want to learn life or to experience life. So you're leaving behind some old ways, or at least a way that you've done something for a significant period of time. And you're embracing this idea of doing something new, of shedding an old skin or an old routine, embracing the crossroads that you might be at, making some scary decisions. As within, so without, or as above, so below. It's like you're trying to align those things now. And I feel like your wish fulfillment will be granted to some degree in these winter months. But you don't have to, the Queen of Swords can be quite sharp when she's unregulated. So we have to be sure that in our communications, if we are feeling stressed or heated or tense within ourselves, we have to be sure that that isn't outwardly expressed, because we don't want to burn our bridges and we don't want to hurt people. We also don't want to cut corners. You've been doing something for a time and you want to switch gears, but we don't want to be too abrupt about that. We want to consider all of our choices. We want to consider all the hard work that we put in to get there, to really decide if that's what we want. And retirement could be that same thought process or decision process of considering what it's going to be when we leave and what life is going to be like when we leave. Because and maybe this is true, maybe it's not, but whenever I make a big shift like this, I always think about I'm hopping off the merry-go-round or the ride, whatever it is. And there's a sense that once I get off, I can't get back on because other people are taking my place if it's a job. And new people are enrolling in the programs, so they'll be a little bit further ahead than me if they stick with that program, and I go off and do something different. I mean, you got to follow your heart in any situation. But I feel like that's kind of what you're contemplating. And you have this desire to do something, not necessarily drastic, but doing something and shifting to something else. And I feel like you've really been considering it. And maybe it's offered you a lot of stress, a lot of tension, maybe even some conflict here and there. Conflict within yourself, at the very least. And so you want to go from doing something to just being for a while. And so you're tapping into knowledge, possibly from other people, like I did with my art teacher. You might be drawing on what you've learned from history to make decisions, because there is a wish that you have deep down. And I feel like you've got a lot of hope and faith that this can work. We just have to be mindful of our approach and not be too abrupt in making decisions. Of being clear with ourselves, clear with the people that are affected by this decision, and just really being mindful. We're going to get an oracle card now for your pile. Interesting. So you got affirmation for positive change. And I just have to point out that she has a dress, or there is a dress hanging on the branch here. And this person is a completely different attire than the dress that's been thrown. So it's like they hopped in the boat, they took off the dress that they were wearing, threw it to the side, and is just going forward with their authentic attire, how they feel, and they're going off onto an adventure, which is exactly what we're talking about here. You're going from one book to another, and this feels like that as well. One reality to another. And you just want to explore and adventure and learn new things through your experiences. It's kind of fun, actually. Okay. And I almost get the same energy with the page here, which is the bottom of the deck, something that you don't really see or it's lurking in the shadows. I don't know, should we take 3? Is that too many? Let's go for it and be adventurous. So we have express authentically with pride. We have clear the old to start anew. These cards were definitely meant for you. And last card is pause to recover. Pause to process, recover, and release. So I feel like that's the Four of Swords energy there. There might need to be a little bit of a pause as we process this new decision and to release anything that we don't want to take forward. And express, clear, pause. I almost feel like the pause should come first, the clear should come next, and the express is like the action that you take afterwards. After you've done the reflection, after you've cleared out all the old stuff, whether that is psychologically, spiritually, physically, clearing out the old. And then you can then move forward and be authentic with your experience moving forward. 4s are about foundation. 6 is about those transformations, those transitions from one thing to the other. I'm surprised the 6 of Swords isn't here, but that's the energy that I feel with the express authentically with pride. And then 10s are that ending energy where we're closing some chapters and we're putting stuff away or putting stuff aside or releasing stuff to be able to allow new things to come in. And what a cool reading, Pile 2. You'll have to let me know in the comments below what this might be for you. So pile 2, this was your reading. I hope it resonated here with you today. Please like this video to say thanks, and with gratitude of my own, I'm sending you my love, and we'll see you in your next reading. Hi pile 3, welcome to your reading. So you chose the Lapis Lazuli crystal, or stone, and you have We Are the World card, which is the 10 of Pentacles in the traditional tarot. And 10 of Pentacles is about sharing our wealth, whether that is knowledge, time, money. If we feel abundant in any place in our life, then helping out others is a big energy of the 10 of Pentacles. And that can be with our neighbors, our friends, our family. There's a connectedness here and a sharing. And coming together through commonalities, rather than only just seeing our differences. So feel free to grab a journal and a pen to take notes and reflect on the messages that are offered here today. I find that I get the most out of my own tarot readings when I not only take note of the messages, but I also consider how I can apply them to my life through inspired action, or even if I should apply them. You know, sometimes we get messages that we don't like to hear, or that doesn't make sense to us at the time. So we can take note of that and then maybe refer to it later and kind of look into those feelings. Why are they creating a reaction, or why do we feel it doesn't make sense to us? There's information that lies in all of the messages that are offered. I feel, at least. Okay, so we're going to get 3 cards today. Spirit, what does pile 3 need to leave behind over the next 3 months? And I should mention this is the winter solstice, a winter solstice reading. So we're in winter in the northern hemisphere. However, no matter where you are, this is going to be for the next few months. What do you need to leave behind? We have the 6 of Cups in reverse. What does pile 3 need to embrace, Spirit? 1 card. What does pile 3 need to embrace for the next 3 months? Thank you. We have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. And final card is your guidance or outcome, possibly. Spirit, 1 card for outcome, guidance, advice for pile 3. Thank you. We have Temperance. And we're also going to get clarifiers right away, just to round out your reading right out of the gate. So clarify the 6 of Cups for us, please, Spirit. 6 of Cups in reverse. Thank you. We have the Knight of Cups. Clarify the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. All right. Oh boy. We got heavy hitters here. Okay, and Temperance, please clarify. Thank you. And the Devil in reverse. And bottom of the deck, we have the 8 of Swords. Where are we here? There we are. Okay, so I'm just going to move these over. Okay, so pile 3. I feel like you're going to be breaking some kind of cycle here over the next few months. And it's going to be a pretty significant one. Possibly something from your past. And with the World, interestingly enough, we have the World here and the World here. So complete 360 or 180 or some kind of closure, some kind of cycle, some kind of season in your life. But I feel it's really had you in a place of feeling stuck and in kind of an infinite loop over and over and over again. So what you need to leave behind is living in the past and being attached to some kind of heart-centered relationship that isn't going anywhere. This could be the reason for the cycle, is that you keep going back to something that didn't work from the past, thinking that it's going to change, and nothing's changed. Maybe somebody offered you some kind of hopeful incentive that things are different now. And this could be a friendship. This could be a familial relationship. It could be a love relationship. But it just didn't go anywhere. So we have to leave that behind now, I feel. And that could possibly be the chapter that's closing here, is that you're getting out of this cycle. You're getting out of kind of continually starting over with this person and then realizing it's not working, and then trying again and realizing it's not working. So it's coming to that acceptance that I have to stop living in the past. I have to stop participating, especially if there's no movement, if my heart's not in it anymore, and it just doesn't feel right to me anymore. Obviously, that's going to be up to each individual person and how that applies to their situation. It may simply mean that we have to stop a certain cycle of thinking within that relationship, maybe stop leading from the heart and being more logical, or stop overthinking and lead more from the heart. It can be an either or thing. But definitely something related to the heart that's getting you into a mode of feeling stuck, overthinking things, having this weigh really heavy on your mind, and not feeling like you can see what's ahead, what the future might hold. And we need to leave behind what's not fulfilling for us, what doesn't feel satisfactory, what doesn't work, or what isn't aligned, and stop basing maybe even our relationships based on our past beginnings within that relationship, and see it from today. What is it today? There's a sense of moving the friendship or the relationship into the present moment and out of what it used to be. So maybe that is the change, because what to embrace, holy cow, is pretty huge. It's significant. We've got the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, which simply speaks to change and the temporariness of life. So if things are feeling crappy, don't worry, it'll change. But if things are feeling good, don't worry, it'll change too. So it's not getting stuck in having things be fixed. So we have to embrace the changes that happen within our life, even within these friendships, relationships, heartfelt connections. And how do we work within those relationships? How do we not be fixed? And how do we start embracing the present, the moment that's happening now, the interactions, the experience that we have with these people in the now, versus being attached to something that we did 20 years ago? And then we come into embracing that closure, that change of whatever might be coming to a close. And that's why I felt out of the gate that this might be a letting go of a relationship that kept going in a cycle and it wasn't going anywhere, because your hearts are in it. And there could be genuine love here, but you've changed so much that you no longer have a common ground. So that's the first message, because there's this significant change, shift, closure that you need to embrace. But because the World card is here, I almost get a sense that you both possibly need to accept the changes within yourselves and therefore change that dynamic. So maybe change the expectations that you have of each other, change the way you interact with each other, because, the things we did in our past aren't necessarily reflective of what we feel good about or desire today, because people do change. And possibly this friendship, heart connection changed quite significantly from the past. So how can we roll with those punches? How can we help the relationship change along with each other? And maybe that's not possible, I'm not sure. But there's something here that's weighing on your mind that you have to address and embrace. There could be some travel indicated here as well. Maybe you're moving away from a heart connection that you feel really challenged about letting go or being away from. Maybe you are traveling the world. I don't know. And the outcome or guidance is to find a balance, find some kind of moderation. Have how you feel reflect in your external world. Have what you think reflect in your actions. So as above, so below, as within, so without. Those things all have to be in equal balance. And it might require a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of experimenting of what if we did this or what if we did that. And, you have to explore all of your options here. But how can you best find that balance and feel connected to your authentic self and have that other person be connected to their authentic self? Obviously, they are responsible for themselves, their actions, their behaviors, and only you can be responsible for yourself. So how can you show up in this connection as balanced as possible? And I feel you might even come into some kind of balance after this has been rectified, changed, challenged, moved away from. Because there's the devil energy here in reverse, which also can speak to stuckness, but it's an illusion because we're not really stuck in anything. We do have options and choices available within that construct of that situation. How we feel, how we think, how we move through those situations. So really, it's about disconnecting from those things that don't give us balance. And if that relationship is one of them, then that might be a choice you have to come to a hard reality about or come to the hard truth about in the end. Or it could just be something within this dynamic is not serving either of you. So that has to be changed in order to redefine the balance within the relationship. So, for example, I'm getting a bit of a party energy coming out where maybe, and I've had friends like this where I've had party friends and that's all I did with them was party and go out and have fun and dance and be out late and drink and just have a good time. But when it came down to life stuff and when it came down to getting more vulnerable with them or more connected with them, talking about feelings, doing the hard stuff that life obviously is going to throw at us, it became really imbalanced. And it no longer became a friendship that I could lean on to get advice or talk about the difficult things or have a shoulder to cry on. It was only a party friendship, and that was the extent of it. I had to come to that reality and eventually decide that I'm not necessarily against having a good time, but in certain moments of my life, I needed a different kind of friend, and that person wasn't able to give that to me. And they were clear about that. They were even defensive about the fact that I was moving through a different period of my life where I didn't want to party and I didn't want to spend money on events and experiences. I wanted to save my money for travel or to move into a bigger place or to take up classes. And there was a misunderstanding there. There was a misalignment there. And so the balance was tipped when I decided that this was no longer for me. So releasing those, not necessarily toxic behaviors, but whatever you feel is no longer serving you, kind of showing up for those needs and bringing that back into balance. Letting go, being courageous enough to show up as your authentic self, as you're in your authentic moment within your life, to say, I need this, or let's do that, or we need to talk about this, that, and the other thing in order to rectify that balance. And whatever the other person does is up to them. You can't control that, but you need to ensure that you're feeling balanced. You're letting go of the things that are no longer working for you. And if that person is along for the ride and they agree and they understand and there's some kind of compromise that you can come to, then perfect. But if not, then some more difficult decisions might need to be made. So I feel like if that might be the guidance or advice, but it also might be the outcome, or that's what you decide in the end, is that you choose yourself to be balanced and to disconnect from maybe harmful behaviors, or not necessarily harmful behaviors, but behaviors that are no longer serving you, actions or experiences that are no longer working, ways of thinking, ways of doing that are just not aligned with you anymore. And that's completely okay. Hopefully this person in your life understands that. But I almost feel like there's so much common ground here, maybe for some of you, that it'll all work out in the end. It'll all balance itself out. So we'll get a clarifier now for pile 3. Thank you. Learn from life. And then we'll get one more oracle card from my pocket oracle deck, which you can find on my website. The link to purchase this is in the description box below. So let's see, for pile 3, final message for pile 3, please. Oh, you got 2 here. You got 3. Pile 2 got 3 as well. Okay, so bloom in spite of conditions and opinions. We have develop strong roots to weather storms. So yeah, there might be some tension here. You might be experiencing or will experience some kind of storm, and then clear out the old to start anew. So that's so interesting how you go from the 1 to the 5 to the 10. So it's like you want to do something new here. You come up against a bit of tension and then eventually clear out the old stuff that's no longer serving you, which is kind of what I'm feeling here. So it's kind of, if these were clarifiers, it's almost exactly what I'm getting here. And maybe that's how I should have done the other piles too, was clarify these with the oracle cards. Maybe we'll do that next time. Learn from life. So I have to read from the book because I didn't do this with the other piles, but I wasn't familiar with this one. And I have to tell you, the description is like blowing me out of the water right now, or the interpretation. So here we go. I'm going to read it. Someone once said that those who do not learn from their mistakes are doomed to repeat them. So it's kind of what I'm getting there, where you're doing something and it's not working, and you're trying something else and it's not working. And this 8 of Swords, where it's a cycle and it's really weighing you down. Okay, carry on. Have you been learning as you move through life, or are you still doing the same thing over and over again and wondering why your situation hasn't changed? There are many different ways to learn: books, experience, the wisdom of others, but if you want to become your own best self, it is important to keep learning from life's lessons, large and small. What have you learned today? So that might be a question for the journal. And the divination for this card suggests that maybe you need to be paying more attention to the lessons the universe is sending you. Is there something you should be doing differently but aren't because you haven't learned from your mistake? Or is there some way you could be improving your life if only you are willing to expand your knowledge? Make sure that you are embracing life and experiencing it fully. And I'll read the magic portion of this interpretation because you might be able to get something from it. Sometimes we need help figuring out what that lesson is that we are supposed to be taking away from a particular situation or challenge, especially if strong emotions are involved. Sit in front of a yellow or white candle. If you want, you can put a book next to the candle to symbolize knowledge. Light the candle and say, God and Goddess, please help me to learn from life as fully and gracefully as possible. Wow, so big messages coming in here for you. And I hope you got something from this today. So pile 3, this is what I have for you. This was your reading. I hope it resonated. You're welcome to comment below to let me know, or like this video to say thanks. With my gratitude, I'm sending you my love, and we'll see you in your next reading.